H6
on BBC WM 95.6.
Your voice in the West Midlands.
BBC WM. Now, a lot of people love their music. It means a lot to an awful lot of people, whether it's rock or pop, reggae, country, hip-hop, jazz. What about ancient Greek and Egyptian music? Michael Levy is a musician and composer, lives in Gloucestershire. He's recreated what is the world's oldest song, which apparently dates back to 1400 BC. And he's on the show. Michael Levy, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
So, what's the story here? This is the Hurrian Hymn.
Yes, just a little bit of background about the Hurrian hymns. About 29 of these were found in what is now the archaeological site of Ugarit, which is in modern-day Syria, but back then it was like northern Canaan. And during that time, that land was occupied by the Hurrians. They don't actually come from modern-day Syria. They actually come from Anatolia, which is in Turkey, but in the Bronze Age, which is where this Hurrian hymn dates from. They occupied what is now modern Syria.
You mentioned 29, and we're talking tablets, big blocks of stone, if you like. When were these blocks or tablets found?
In the early 50s, of the 29 tablets, only in Hurrian Hymn Text H6, as it was catalogued, is in a sufficient, complete enough form to have been interpreted by various academic scholars and can be recreated today, which I've had the fascinating experiment of doing so.
Well, you've made national headlines in various newspapers, but you only worked with one tablet. Only one was readable, effectively. So what are we talking about? Ancient Greek lyrics?
Well, it's actually in Cuneiform, which is a sort of Akkadian script. The actual musical text is actually a corruption of Babylonian, but musicologists know quite a lot about Babylonian texts. And so from that they can derive the actual mode that the tune was in. But basically, just to cut a very long story short, you have the text of the hymn, and then there's two lines underneath it on this this clay tablet on which it was inscribed. And underneath that you have the musical instructions. Basically it's a sort of guitar tab for a 9-string lyre. It gives each string a specific name, and then it mentions the intervals that are to be played, and this causes some of the debate between the musicologists today exactly what these intervals refer to. The arrangement I did was by Dr. Richard Dumbrell. Of all the interpretations I've heard of the Hurrian hymn, his is the most musical sounding, and there are sort of musicological reasons that Dumbrell explains why his sounds more melodic than other attempts that have been made to decipher the melody, but I don't want to blind everyone with musicological science.
No, so you wanted to create the music of the Hurrian hymn from that particular tablet. Had nobody else done that before?
Well, they have. A Syrian concert pianist, he did an arrangement for piano and orchestra. But obviously, 3,400 years ago, there weren't any pianos and orchestras, so I wanted to get back to how it would have originally sounded played on the instrument it was written for, i.e. a lyre.
What's a lyre?
A lyre is basically the guitar of the ancient world.
Okay.
It's basically the difference between a harp and a lyre. On a harp, well, the instrument, for a start, is much bigger, and the strings directly enter the resonating chamber of the instrument, whereas on a lyre, the strings pass over a bridge, just like a guitar, in fact. That's why it was literally the guitar of antiquity. And in fact, the ancient Greek word kithara is where we get our one word for the guitar. The kithara in ancient Greece was the lyre of the professional musicians of ancient Greece.
Right, and let's just have a quick listen to the sound that you created as the Hurrian hymn. It's the hymn for Nikkal, and Nikkal was the goddess of orchards, I'm told.
That's right, yes. And basically, it's an invocation to Nikkal for her fertility, for barren women to bear children. And there is a rough there's quite a few translations. I mean, the original meanings of the Hurrian language have long since vanished into oblivion, but quite a bit can be inferred. This is roughly what the hymn means if it was to be sung. So basically, once I have endeared the deity, she she will love me in her heart. The offer I bring may wholly cover my sin. Bringing sesame oil may work on my behalf. In awe may I, and there's a bit missing. The sterile they make fertile. Grain may they bring forth. She, the wife, will bear children to the father. May she, who has not yet born children, bear them. So that's sort of rough meaning. I mean, it's fragmentary, the tablet. It's water damaged, so sadly bits of it are missing, and the actual Hurrian language is a bit obscure as well.
Yeah, let's just have a flavour for the song that you created. And that's you on the lyre there?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah.
I wanted to sort of, rather than try, obviously I can't sing in Hurrian, I wanted to sort of try and capture the sort of feel on an instrument that would have been played 3,400 years ago in the lyre, was actually what the musical notation was written for.
Definitely the oldest song ever?
I got to distinguish, it's the oldest written melody that can be interpreted and performed today. There is actually another older musical text, but that's just a musical instruction. That was called Lipit Ishtar, King of Justice. That comes from Sumer. It's a Sumerian text, but that doesn't actually notate a melody, it's just musical instructions.
The oldest melody ever. Created again by Michael Levy, who's a musician and composer from these tablets that were found back in the 1950s in the Syrian city of Ugarit. And I know that if people Google you, then they'll hear more music that you've created on the lyre, because you want to get the lyre back in popular music, don't you?
And that's my musical mission, to reintroduce the lyres of antiquity back into the modern world.
Well, I wish you well with that. Michael, pleasure to have you on the show.
The pleasure is mine.